What's up, people? My name is Jeffrey Kaminsky, and we are back after a long hiatus due to some technical issues. But that doesn't matter anymore. Today we're talking about the top 3 back exercises that you need in your strength training program if you want to dominate your opponents on the wrestling mat. First up, we have barbell rows, aka the heaviest back exercise you can possibly do. And that is because we are not talking about light barbell rows of light weight moving through extreme ranges of motion. We're talking heavy friggin' barbell rows going right above your knee, putting some body English into that bar so you can accelerate it throughout the whole friggin' rep, moving as fast as you possibly can and putting some friggin' aggression into that weight. Now, you might be saying,
Excuse me, sir, but Dr. Mike told me that cheat reps don't actually build muscle.
shut the up, you pencil neck. Even if it doesn't look like it, you are still squeezing your muscles at the top of every single rep, and all of that weight and tension is still being applied to your muscles, your back, and your biceps. And all that heavy weight is going to create a heavy stimulus on these tissues to force them to grow bigger and stronger than light rows or light curls ever could on their own. Now we have to keep in mind that wrestlers need to learn how to use their full body to produce force into things, because we're going to do it in our sport. And if you're just doing light isolation exercises with one muscle at a time, you're leaving a lot of gains out there somewhere. And of course, there's a big difference between things that are completely cheat, like deadlift or Rubik's rows, where the goal is more a power exercise, compared to something like this, where we're using a little bit of body English to get the weight up, but we're still squeezing at the top. And this is where most of our muscular gains are actually going to come from. Now, of course, you should still be doing some of those more cheat power movements, as well as the light isolation exercises, but those should be done later in the session when you're already fried from doing all these bigger, important movements where most of your gains are going to come from. Now, these should be done above the knee, not below the knee, because when you go below the knee, you're actually putting more stress on your lower back, which in a vacuum would be great because, it's going to strengthen your lower back, and you need a strong lower back as a wrestler. The problem with that is it's going to take away from the training of the other heavier movements like your RDLs, deadlifts, and squats that are going to train your lower back a lot more efficiently, and it's also going to make your back more sore for practices so you can't stay in your stance as long. Going above the knee is going to make sure that your back is spared for those other things and let you use heavier weights to make your back muscles stronger. These should be done in the 5 to 12 rep range the majority of the time. Every now and then, I like going anywhere from 15 to 20 or doing an as many reps as possible set just as a mental toughness thing. On the other side of things, you should not go below 5 reps on these very often because it's too easy to make it too body Englishy and not get the full benefit out of it. So 5 to 12 reps, that's a sweet spot for barbell rows. And additionally, these should be freaking heavy, okay? You should be anywhere from 1 to 1.5 times your body weight if you're doing these right, if you want to see the full benefits from them. You'll notice that barbell rows really train your grip because every single rep you're moving the bar explosively and the bar is constantly trying to slip out of your hands. So it's great for building your grip, but the unfortunate truth is that your back will get so strong that your grip will be the limiting factor. And if you want to continue progressing the barbell row, you have to strap up. Now, you should still do your warm-up sets without straps, and occasionally and intentionally do working sets without straps in order to build your grip. But if you want to get your back as strong as you possibly can, you have to strap up eventually. As far as grip goes, probably stick with double overhand. It's going to be the heaviest and the safest. You could do a double underhand or supinated grip because it puts more stress in the biceps and hypothetically builds them better. But it also means that if you go too heavy right away, you might end up tearing a bicep, which is not good. So for double underhand rows, make sure you start lighter and more strict and build your way on up. There are some guys who do a mixed grip for rows, which I do not recommend at all. It's kind of out in the air if like mixed grip on a deadlift or shrug is actually going to lead to muscle imbalances, but you're not really using your arms actively in that movement. Compared to this, where you actually are pulling, and when you pronate or supinate your arm, you're using different muscles. So doing a row like this will actually lead to muscle imbalances, and I cannot recommend that. Just throw on straps if grip is that big of an issue. Our second back exercise is the single arm dumbbell row, where you have your hand posted, your back flat parallel with the ground, your arm fully extended, and you're violently and explosively pulling that dumbbell up to your chest rep after rep. While this is another horizontal pulling exercise like the barbell row, it's going to provide a lot of different benefits that movement doesn't, because it is a unilateral exercise. Because most people, for some reason, I'm not going to judge, have one arm that's bigger than the other, and this is going to fix that. Now, okay, it's perfectly natural for them to be a little lopsided, but the bigger that disparity is between sides, the higher your risk of injury, and unilateral exercise not only expose muscle imbalances but help correct them. And one of my favorite things about dumbbell rows is that you can still go freaking heavy on these. I mean, when I'm doing these heavy, I feel like I'm gonna tear a freaking bicep. I mean, it probably is great for building your freaking biceps and your brachialis and your radiobrachialis and pretty much everything in your forearm and back. It's freaking great. The other thing you notice is you're using your obliques in an anti-rotation manner to stabilize your back so you don't go like a lawnmower every single rep. And that means if your obliques are stabilizing in an anti-rotation manner, that means they're bigger and stronger for big rotational movements so you can lat drop the crap out of people on the mat. That being said, these are fairly strict. You should not be lawnmowing the dumbbell, your back should be flat, and you should be using the muscles you should be using for the most part. And making sure you touch the dumbbell to your chest every single rep. I like doing these in the 5 to 12 rep range, occasionally doing 12 to 15 just as a thing to burn them out, and occasionally doing 3 reps just to prove the fact that you can do heavy weights. But overall, most of your reps, 5 to 12 reps, just like you should for the barbell rows. Now, the grip is going to be a limiting factor on these eventually, but it's actually a trick, unlike the barbell row, you can use to not need straps, and I'll show you. Alright, so for a dumbbell row, most people will naturally grab in the middle of the dumbbell right here. That way when you pick it up, the dumbbell's nice and level. The problem with that is, once you go heavy enough in order to challenge your back, your grip's going to be giving out on you. So what I like to do, instead of grabbing the middle, I grab higher up on the handle, all the way up against the head of the dumbbell. That way when I pick it up, it's going to tilt like this, and that way I'm not even using my full grip on it. When I'm doing this, I'm using it in my fingertips. The rest of the weight is actually supporting itself on my hand. That way I can go heavier and almost cheat it without having to use as much grip so I can challenge my back with heavier weights. I don't think it's a tall order to ask for every single wrestler to be able to do half their body weight in each arm on dumbbell rows for reps. The hardest part about dumbbell rows has nothing to do with all this muscle here, and has everything to do with this right here, because nobody believes that they can do the biggest dumbbells in their gym. Whether that's hundreds, 120s, 150s, nobody's gonna use those heavy dumbbells. But the great thing about YouTube is you can see people who are lifting 150, 200, 250, 300 pounds in single arm dumbbell rows, and you start to realize that 100-pound dumbbell row does not mean anything. This is why it's important to break past your glass ceiling and realize that you can do a lot more weight than you think you could. That's why I think half your body weight for reps is not very much to ask. Before you know it, once you surpass the dumbbells in your gym, you can actually take the dumbbells and piggyback them up so you can create your own dumbbells and lift heavier weight to get your back strong and pretty much just crap on everybody else in the gym. Now there is another variation of the dumbbell row where instead of pulling it straight vertically up to your chest, you're pulling the dumbbell down to your hip bone, which will engage more of your lats, but I feel like it's going to limit how much weight you can really use, not only because of the fact that it's harder, but because the weight is going to get blocked by your hip the heavier the dumbbell gets. So I feel like it's not as important as a regular dumbbell row in your training, but you should still be doing it every now and then. Our third and final back exercise is the weighted pull-up. And this is great because unlike the other two, this is a vertical pulling movement, which allows us to get a weighted stretch. Because most of our pulling muscles, like our biceps and our lats, get super tight from staying in this position all the friggin' time. So you end up walking around like this because those muscles are shortened. But if you do dead hang pull-ups, where you fully extend, let your body stretch out, you're actually going to get stronger and more mobile at the exact same time. Which is great because in wrestling, you need to have the shoulder mobility in order to survive in some of those sketchy scrambles where you probably don't want to end up in, but you need to be able to survive there anyway or else you're going to get hurt. So it's great. We get stronger, more mobile, and decrease the risk of injury all at the exact same time with the weighted pull-up. This is also going to help add some traction to help decompress your spine from all the other heavy lifting you're doing. You're lifting heavy, right? As far as the grip goes, the neutral or semi-supinated grip is the way to go for weighted pull-ups because it's going to let you go heavy while putting less stress on the actual shoulder joint itself. And most people are stronger in that neutral grip position anyway, so you can use more weight. That's not to say that you shouldn't be doing the regular pronated pull-up grip or the supinated chin-up grip. Just don't do this as often with weights, and especially with the chin-up grip, make sure you're going into that a little easier with the weights, just like on the barbell rows, so you don't end up tearing a bicep, alright? These should be done in the 2 to 8 rep range with a weight that you can still get a full range of motion to get the full stretch benefits, and also pick that weight so you can make the first reps in the set look absolutely beautiful. Only cheat a little bit on the last rep or two to get your chin all the way up over the bar. you shouldn't be picking weights you have to do any CrossFit kipping bullshit, okay? As far as loading goes, the best way is going to be with one of those actual belts where you can use them for weighted dips or weighted pull-ups. But those are pretty freaking expensive, okay? So what I've done over the years is I'll take a bike lock and I'll make my own freaking belt. Let's say you don't have any of those. Then you're stuck with dumbbells, which is honestly still pretty good. If you're a little taller, you can actually reach up there and use your feet to self-lift off and get some tibialis involvement to make the knees over toes guy happy. But if you're not tall, I mean, you're a wrestler, you're probably not the tallest anyway, so that's probably not going to work. What you're probably going to have to do is hang up on the bar, cross your feet, and then have a partner load the dumbbell for you. As far as the strength standards go for weighted pull-ups, it's a little hard to set one because it's going to vary so drastically from person to person. I mean, the lighter weights are going to be able to do a higher percentage of their body weight on average compared to an upper weight. But that being said, you should be able to do 10 strict pull-ups before you really concern yourself with adding weight. Because, I mean, otherwise your body weight is going to be sufficient enough to create a stimulus if you can't even do 10 strict pull-ups, okay? So make sure you do 10 strict pull-ups, then start adding weight and just seek to up your levels every single time. I'm not going to put a strength standard on this. Alright, so those are the 3 back exercises that are important for wrestlers. But you'll notice these aren't really listed in order of priority because they're all freaking important and you should be doing all 3. You should seek to get your strength up to those standards and increase your level over time. But what should be more important to you is improving your weakest lift because that's where you have the most room to develop. There's this concept called adaptive resistance where basically the better you get at something, the harder it is to get a little better. But that also means that if you have something that's crappy, it doesn't take much effort to get it to good enough. That's what you should be seeking to do. Take myself, for example. I am extremely good at barbell rows. My best set is 315 for 20 for an all-out set. Think about the effort it's going to take me from going from 3 plates to 365 or 405 for reps. How much is that really going to benefit me? Compare that to my weighted pull-up where I'm kind of crappy, like I can barely do 1 plate for reps. If I take that from 1 plate to 2 plate for reps in a weighted pull-up, how much better do you think I'm going to get from as a wrestler compared to taking my barbell row? It's already extremely good enough, making it a little better. Also, at the same token, one of my other athletes that I coach is extremely good at weighted pull-ups. He's like a middleweight, so he can do pull-ups until he gets freaking bored. He can do the 90-pound dumbbell for reps on weighted pull-ups. But his barbell row, he's struggling to do his body weight for reps. What do you think's to make him a better wrestler? Making his weighted pull-up 100-something pounds for reps, or taking his barbell row and making it a little better? What's going to make you better? That's something you have to ask yourself and where you need to triage your gains, all right? So, you should be trying to improve your weakest spot and bring it up to good enough. That's not to say you shouldn't be doing the things you're already extremely good at. Just put less emphasis on them until your lagging area is brought up. And with that, to recap the video, my belief is that the barbell row, the single arm dumbbell row, and the weighted pull-up are the best back exercises you could possibly do for wrestling or any other grappling or combat sport. That's because they're going to allow you to use heavy freaking weight to get those muscles strong and dominate the hand fight, finish your shots, and crush the life out of people on the mat. Now, I want you to tell me what you think about my list. Did I leave out your favorite back exercise? Let me know in the comments down below and subscribe for more awesome strength training content. And until then, I'll see you next time.